Welcome to the Heart of Bastrop Talk Show. I'm TJ Finn with the Heart of Texas Chamber of Commerce.
And I'm Connie Schrader, Mayor of the City of Bastrop.
We have an interesting episode today. We have Doris here from the African American Culture Museum and the Freedom Colonies.
We have Stacey Braden with Gravity District.
Absolutely. And then we have Spruce Dickerson talking about Flip Flop to the World, one of our favorite charities. I love it. Let's get to it. So we're here with Doris Williams, and Doris, and thank you so much for being with us. So she's with the Bastrop County African American Cultural Center and Freedom Colonies Museum. That was a mouthful. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I was there. I got to meet Queen Maxima from the Netherlands when she came to the Kerr Center, and you guys are located upstairs in the Kerr Center.
We are.
And the Kerr Center itself has a lot of history. That is a really beautiful building. If you have not been in there, you definitely have to experience that. But tell us how the museum came about and
Well, I always like to tell the story about the Kerr Center. My father was stationed at Camp Swift many years ago when it was an active duty Army post. And during that time, the black soldiers, they couldn't come in to Bastrop, to the town, but they could come to the Kerr Center. It was a USO.
Wow.
And so he came to the Kerr Center when it was a USO with other black soldiers, and they met the local.
What exactly is a USO? I've heard that.
Well, it was United Service Organization.
Okay.
For all of the military. It could be for all branches. It's like a recreation center.
Absolutely. Anybody in the military, they know that to look for the USO.
USO.
Bob Hope used to do the USO show.
Yeah, I'd heard it, but I just couldn't. My brain. Yeah. Well, that's interesting.
Well, and interestingly enough, because my son was in the Navy, like there are many airports. I think all airports there's a USO. So there's because a lot of times they're on long layovers.
Right.
So it's a place where they can go, and they may not want to be hassled. There's been different times in our history where the military may or may not be treated respectfully, so they can go to the USO.
And they're going to be with other soldiers or sailors or Marines or.
Exactly, and during the segregated days, if they were really limited to any place they could go, so it was a place for them to go have some fun.
That's exactly right. That is exactly right. So they couldn't go into this town, but they could go to the USO, which was the Kerr Center.
Why couldn't they go into the town?
It was segregation.
So they just couldn't even go into the town?
No, they had to, by law, they couldn't. But they could come because they were soldiers. They were defending this country. They could go to the USO. So when my father, who was active duty, went to the Kerr Center, and they started dating the local women, young women. And guess
who were interested in those good-looking soldiers.
And guess what? My mother met my father. They fell in love. They got married as a result of the Kerr Center.
And here you are.
What a beautiful story.
Wow. I like to tell that story about the Kerr Center, why I'm so interested in the Kerr Center.
I love that.
But what we're trying to do in Bastrop County is to build a cultural center. There are many cultural centers around the country, and they are usually kind of like a niche cultural center. It can be a Mexican American cultural center, it can be an African American cultural center, and it can be an Asian cultural center. And in Bastrop, we want to build an African American cultural center, focusing on the contributions of African Americans within Bastrop County.
I love that. I love that. I think that's wonderful. I walked in there and I only got to say a few minutes, but I was blown away by some of the history there. And I always bombard poor Doc Jackson with a million questions of I'm over here going, Doc, what is this? But because there's a lot of, and he's been here a long time, so he knows the buildings and what they were at one time. And it's amazing how much history is in here in Bastrop County and how far back it goes. But it makes sense, right? Like we're the second oldest city in Texas, right? So they're just rich with history.
And we have that Freedom Colonies Museum upstairs, and that's because after slavery, 1863, then it came to Texas in 1865, and now we're all celebrating Juneteenth. Well, those freed slaves had to survive. And so what they did was most of them just moved away maybe a few miles from the plantation where they had been slaves.
Right.
So the name of the museum is the Freedom Colonies Museum. And that's because all of the artifacts that you see in the museum are from descendants of those slaves that were released. And so my folks were Hills Prairie. That's my Freedom Colony. So we have all of the, well, I guess we're focusing on 13 freedom colonies.
So when we say freedom colony, is that because
They were freed.
They were free.
Yeah, they were free.
And they created.
So if you had been a slave on a plantation, you don't want to hang around the plantation.
Right.
You want to go. Well, you've got to be able to make a living. You've got to have a
So they
family. They want to
created
have a
their
church.
colony.
So they got together and created a community.
They did.
And it was free. They were celebrating their freedom. I
That's
would
exactly
assume
right.
that's where that name
Yeah.
came from.
Like Cedar Creek is a freedom colony.
Wow.
Because and many people that are not descendants of slaves, they're not African American, but they are living in Cedar Creek, but they don't really know they're actually part of a freedom colony.
Wow,
So-
that's really interesting.
So-
These young people, we can't wipe out history.
No.
We need to learn from it. We need to understand it. We need to know where we came from because we have a collective memory, right?
That's
We have a
correct.
collective memory. And we need to understand, in order to understand ourselves, we have to understand that we're part of that collective memory. And it has a real impact on your mental health and your life and all the things that you do today. So I applaud you for that because
Well,
that's a big deal.
TJ got to see the museum. If somebody wants to come visit the museum, how do they do that?
They can call and we will give them a private tour. Right now, we're trying to get enough volunteers, to have a set time so that people will know, like the first and the second Saturday of each month from 11 until 2. It's open. People can just stop
So you're
by
trying to
there.
have a set amount of hours.
But
But
right
so
now-
if somebody's interested in volunteering,
Or
They
donating,
can we are
right?
looking for volunteers. We're looking for donations. So it's a big project. But
so what number do they call?
they can call the my number. My number is 512-973-3299, or they can call, because there's no one at the museum. We have an answering service at the museum,
Great.
so they can call that and
And leave a message and
leave a
say
message.
that they have an
Right,
interest,
right.
and then you can
Right.
get a private
And
tour.
what do you
And
know
they
what
can-
that number is for
That
the
number
answer
is 512-535-3042, I believe, but I will make sure.
I'll look it up. I'll
Right.
look it up. Make
You
sure
can
we
go to the
put that across the
website, and
screen.
we have a
yeah.
website. It's on.
Oh, what is the
The
website?
website is Bastrop County African American Cultural Center.org.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming and talking to us
Thank you
today.
for inviting me.
And yes,
My
it's been
pleasure.
lovely, and you've taught me a lot of things I didn't know,
There
and
you
you
go.
taught me things I didn't know.
So glad that
I
your
love it.
parents met at the USO.
That is
We're glad to have
beautiful.
you.
What a
Thank
beautiful
you.
story. Thank you.
We are searching for guests for Season 5. Do you have an event coming up in Bastrop County? Want to share news or information about your business? We want to know. Visit theheartofbastrop.com or send us an email to theheartofbastrop@gmail.com and be our guest.
We're here with Stacey Braden with the Gravity District. You've just opened a new business near the Hunters Crossing neighborhood, and people don't know what Gravity District is. That's what I like so much about you, because people are drawn into it, and what are they going to find when they visit?
Oh, well, a lot of fun things. So Gravity District is an aerial and movement studio. So a lot of people, when I say aerial, they ask me, do we fly the drones? No, that's not.
And
It's
then
a
they wanna
different
know,
kind.
is it just stripper poles?
No. But I figure if it's good enough for J-Lo, it's good enough
There
for me.
you go.
That's right.
But no, so aerial includes a lot of different apparatus. So things that you would find in the studio include silk fabric. It can also be a sling, which is also made out of silk fabric as well. A lyra is a stainless steel hoop that is suspended. We do static trapeze. We do cube, aerial pole, all kinds of things. And also, yes, as you mentioned, pole as well. But the goal of the studio is to bring movement and health, actually, to the community, but in a way that maybe you haven't experienced before.
It will certainly give you core strength, and you don't have to do
Yeah.
crunches. You can
Well,
have some fun and hang out and build it up that way.
Yes, absolutely. We had a wonderful class last night. It was awesome. 4 ladies came in for intro to aerials, and it's just a blast. And it's not necessarily just ladies. We welcome everybody, every gender background. You don't have to have a gym or a dance background, like you mentioned, whatsoever. It is something that I kind of fluked into about 8 years ago with a friend who said, I'm going to go to a class and I'm taking you with me. And I didn't even ask what it was. I just said, let's go. And then found out how much fun it is. I've tried going to gyms myself. It's just not something I felt like I stuck with. But with aerial, there's just such a range and spectrum of things that you can do. It just is really up to your imagination.
Well, TJ, I'm also inspired by Stacey because she got tired of driving to Austin
Yeah.
and thought, well, I can open my own business.
Sure.
Why, yes, you can.
Yeah.
And we're always about women entrepreneurs. And when did you guys open?
July 18th was our official first day. We are having a grand opening. I call it a Circpalooza. Grand opening party on Sunday, September 25th.
Fun. I love that. I don't think people really understand how important movement is, right? You're stretching and you're, just letting all that tension come out. So I think that would be really interesting and fun. I'm going to go.
I hope so.
There you go.
And we also have 4 yoga classes on the schedule a week,
Nice.
and a mobility class, and a ladies' night the second Friday.
So the ladies' night is something you can do with friends. You can drop
Absolutely.
by, right?
Absolutely.
Or you can. So, what kind of offerings? How many classes do you have?
We have 20 classes on the weekly schedule. We also have various workshops that come up. We're just now in the middle of a weekly Mommy and Me fitness series. So we wanted something that would be for
That's fun.
something where moms could bring their kids. It's age 0 to 4. And then we also have 3 youth programs, mixed aerials programs on the weekly schedule. And that's age 6 to 15.
Wow, that's really nice. So you can
You can
bring
do
your kiddos
parties.
with you.
Yeah.
That's right.
And like
That
I
would
said,
be
we can
fun.
do parties. It can be
Sounds like a fun
bachelorette.
bachelorette
Yeah.
It does. It really does. When I was an agent, I required all of my models to do Pilates because it will gain them sometimes an inch or two because you don't realize how your body gets all tensed out.
That's
and
true.
the stretching and the movement will make them taller. It sounds crazy, but it works.
Wow.
And most
I am
agents
way
do
behind
that.
on my Pilates.
Yeah, well, you got to do a lot of Pilates if you want to
How many inches I
It
can
was
make.
stretching out.
How did you come up with the name?
Well, gravity. Who doesn't want to defy that? I
There
guess.
you go.
I love it. Women defying gravity. I love that. Well, thank you so much for coming on, and I can't wait to come out and experience what you guys have going on.
I would love to have you.
Thank you. So we're here with Spruce Dickerson, and Spruce, you're with Flip Flop for the World, right? Tell everyone about your organization. We've had her on before. It was amazing.
Last year we were talking about Haiti.
Yes.
And are these not the cutest little things you've
It's
ever
cute.
seen in your whole
It's super
life?
cute. I
Very
love
cute.
it.
Very
And this is the person who donated those, right? Because you put the little.
Well, this child did a collection, she and her sister, every year, at least over 600 pairs of flip-flops. And
Wow.
so the people who donate flip-flops, then I ask if they want to give a picture. And then on many pairs of flip-flops, I attach their pictures and
I
withholding
love
the
that.
flip-flops.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
Cute.
So
Oh, and it
Flip
has a
Flop
little.
to the World.
Yes.
Love it.
that's a new addition last year. With the
I
logo
love
on the back,
that.
so.
So, and you were telling me almost 5,000 pairs collected.
Yes, for Haiti last year. So that's the mission of Flip Flop to the World is that every year is a different country of focus, right? And this is my 10th year, and I've gone into Philippines, Haiti, Puerto Rico, Mexico, USA, Nigeria. I don't leave anybody out. This year was India. But
Wow.
last year was our largest collection in 9 years. And it was
Wow.
close to 5,000 pairs of flip-flops.
Well, congratulations. That's a big
Thank you.
deal. That's a big deal.
You even had to add on to your house. You said it's been taking over your house, so now you're going to turn your shed into the flip-flop shed.
I saw that on Facebook. I did. I saw it on Facebook. I love it.
Well, because I have a shed that my brother had built, and I say he electrified a shed. It's like 240 square feet. There are electrical
Wow.
outlets all over this shed. So
That's
you
amazing.
can't just store things in it. Anyway, I'm converting it to my flip-flop workshop. And
I love the flip-flop workshop.
There you
I
go.
love that.
I have to get all these boxes and bags of flip-flops because I get collections sent from all over the country. And
That's amazing.
and it's in my house.
Well, what about locally? If somebody here in the Bastrop area wants to donate flip-flops, where do they go to do that?
Well, I put, ever since day one of my campaign started in 2012, I have put 55-gallon collection barrels, cardboard barrels, in businesses throughout Central Texas. So the community can go by and just conveniently donate their flip-flops. So here in Bastrop, Coffee Dog.
I was going to say, I saw
Yeah,
the
Coffee
barrel
Dog,
at
yeah.
Coffee Dog.
I think since day one, since I moved to Bastrop in 2020, Coffee Dog has been a location. Living Room Bookstore has been a location. Last year, the Public Library was a location. So I'm building Bastrop, building
I
up
love
Bastrop.
that. And I absolutely love that. And so we talked about this before, and I want to point out to the public, these are not used flip-flops. Guys, flip-flops are so inexpensive, right? So go buy some new flips. Sometimes you can get them for 50 cents at
That's
a
right.
clearance. Who doesn't have 50 cents, right? And go buy these and bring them and drop them off at these wonderful locations, or contact Spruce through the website. Give them the
Yes.
website.
It's www.flipfloptotheworld.org. And
Love
it has
it.
all information on there. Donate. Yes, I take monetary donations to help with shipping. Because like I said, it goes to a different country every year. Sometimes I'll have a contact in the States here. Sometimes I ship directly to the country. So
That's
takes a
crazy
lot of money.
amazing. Yeah, and you need the backing for that. So yes, anyone who would donate. Let me tell you a funny story. It's not funny, but it's funny now. But during Hurricane Harvey, I lost everything in Hurricane Harvey, and we had to be rescued, and I put my rubber boots on my daughter, and I wore my tennis shoes, and they were ruined. So after Hurricane Harvey, had 11 and a half feet of water in my house for 5 days.
Oh my
I had no shoes. So I know what it feels like to not have a pair of shoes, right? And someone at the hotel, because when we, I don't know what I was thinking, but when we left the house, we went to my hotel, and then the hotel got flooded and we were stuck for almost 2 weeks. We could only get out by boat. But a lady at the hotel gave me a pair of her flip-flops.
Oh my
It's a
goodness.
strange story, but I was just sitting here thinking of that, and my mind is like, well, I know what it feels like not to have shoes and be happy to have a pair of flip-flops. So
how poignant is
yeah,
that? That is such
it
a,
is.
I don't know, maybe I could use that if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Your story of how important
Absolutely.
flip-flops are. Because that is
Absolutely.
how Flip-Flop to the World was born. Originally, it was Flip-Flop to Nigeria. I shipped to Nigeria for 5 years. But that's how it was born when I was in the dollar store, one of those stores, Dollar Tree, whatever. And I stood before the rack of flip-flops, of $1 flip-flops. And it just came all over me that for $1, we can buy shoes. Just
Right,
exactly your
right.
story. Flip-flops are shoes. Then my very next thought was that there are people all over this world that don't even have $1.
Right.
$1 is rich. to people
Right.
who have nothing.
Absolutely.
And that was the birth of Flip Flop to Nigeria, but now Flip Flop to the world.
I love
So-
that. I love that so much. And you know, I think that there are so many amazing people in Bastrop County. And I think once they hear your story, they're as amazed as the mayor and I are. That, you know, it is what you're doing. And if you think you can't make an impact in a worldwide impact just from little old Bastrop County, you are proof that that is not true.
Oh,
And thank you. Thank you for making Bastrop County a great place to be.
You're gonna make me cry. Stop.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I really
I appreciate it.
that.
Yes, thank
So
you.
look in the spring, because you do your collection, when does the first day of collection?
June 1st.
June 1st. So now's the perfect time as people are cleaning out and converting things over to fall. Get you some new pairs of flip-flops
Yes.
and be prepared to drop them off. And we've got such great businesses here locally, and I bet we can get some more businesses to help support you as well.
Thank you. I would love that.
We would love to have a collection box here at the Hampton. I would
Let's
love
do
that.
it.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
You know, and
24 hours a day they can drop off flip flops.
Hey, there you are. And you know, and I put a sign on there that says new flip flops and no trash.
I'm sure you get all kind of weird things in your box, right?
Well,
can
I
only
figured
imagine.
out, I'm learning after 10 years, I'm learning. But, you know, in a secure spot where people don't think that, hey, free flip
Free
flops, how
flip-flops,
kind of the hotel.
Right, right.
But
We'd love
yes,
to do
definitely,
that.
I would love to have more Bastrop businesses, please, to come
Absolutely.
alongside and help the world. And word has it on the street that, I think it's Dollar General, that their flip-flops now are 25 cents.
Well, there you
What?
go.
Let's go clean them out.
Exactly. Buy a box load and just save until next year, June 1st through August 31st. And then as Connie and I were speaking and talking, after August 31st is when we do the processing and flipping. Processing and packing. And that's when we take all the tags off, and then we attach the pictures
I
onto
love
the
it. And you
flip-flops.
probably
So-
need people to help you attach pictures, right? Do you need that help?
Yes.
Well,
Yes,
and we
it
were
was-
talking about, so we'll make
Mhm,
sure that
yes.
they know to, I know TJ will put your website on the bottom, and we'll
Absolutely.
make sure people know how to get hold of you.
That's
They can
perfect.
help with treasures or time.
And what
That's
about
perfect.
storage?
Thank you.
So there's a lot of flip flops. Like maybe there's a local business owner that has some extra storage where you don't mind holding flip flops for Spruce until it's time to ship them out. I mean, that would be great. We're gonna hook you up some way. We'll figure it out. We're like, yes.
Y'all are a blessing. Thank
Well,
you. Yes,
we think you're
absolutely.
wonderful. So thank you so much for coming
appreciate
on the
it.
show.
Yes,
We
yes.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, Mayor, that was an amazing show.
We promised them some interesting guests.
We did, and I tell you, you taught me about say it again, the servicemen go to the
USO.
USO. I remember hearing about that, but I had no idea what that was, and that there's one in every airport.
Oh, yeah.
That's really interesting.
Got to take care of our military.
Absolutely.
And we also want to we're so thankful for Spruce and what she does for poor people across the world.
I love that. I'm happy that we're going to have a box here at the Hampton Inn. Like I said, 24-hour flip-flop drop-off.
There you
That's
go.
right.
And Gravity District.
Oh, my goodness.
I can't wait for you to come back and
Interesting.
tell me, do we all want to see TJ flying through the air?
That's right. I'm going to be a trapeze person before it's over with. I've sure enjoyed this show. And I tell you what, you do not want to miss an episode of the Heart of Bastrop Talk Show. You can go to our website, theheartofbastrop.com, or subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we'll see you guys next week.